Hello, the lady Kezia here. A greater percentage of women all over the world aspire to be mothers, but a little percentage of these women prepare mentally and psychologically for motherhood. Honey, motherhood has a penalty. Let's dive deeper into motherhood penalty. The motherhood penalty is the price women pay for growing their families while they are in the workforce. Statistics show that mothers in the workforce are less likely to be chosen for new roles and promotion, will earn lower salaries, and be held to higher standards than fathers and non-mothers. The motherhood penalty is a term coined by sociologists Michelle Jean Budick and Dr. Paula England to explain the disadvantages mothers face in the workplace after having their children. Having a child is no small task. That's putting it mildly. Pregnancy and childbirth are tremendously taxing on the woman's body and can take a long time to recover from both physical and emotional. What is more, taking care of these infants is a full-time job. Infants and young children need near constant care, whether they are breastfed or not. And some countries or workplaces don't have generous maternity leave policies or any at all, depending on the kind of work you do. This forces women to take difficult decisions about going back to work, financing expensive childcare, and trying to balance their professional lives and early parenthood. If that is just for a child, having multiple children, especially if they are close in age, it makes it even more challenging to re-enter the workforce. I know there are situations and there are countries that as long as you resume as a woman, your position will be there for you as far as you can still work within that capacity. But it's never so in other countries. The longer a woman stays home, even if she works part-time, the less optimistic her future prospect and earning potential becomes. That is why the gender wage gap expands as women enter their peak childbearing years. This is a statistic, information out there that any of you can research into it. In 2020, as the COVID-19 pandemic broke out and took hold, an estimated 2 million mothers exited the workforce. The tragedy of this can't be overstated. Economics have written about it. It's in the news, even the New York Times by one Jessica Yossi. I hope I had the name correctly. Just before the pandemic hit, for the first time ever, for a couple of months, we had more women employed than men. But now we are back to the situation of the late 80s level, where women in the workforce was, just a few. Not only does this leave us with a much less diverse workforce, but it may also have devastating repercussions for many women's professional and financial futures. This period of lost work may harm their job prospect or even lead to old age poverty. Another thing I'll do some other time. This may lead to old age poverty later in life. Also, there are numerous studies showing that women who are not financially independent are more likely to remain in unhappy or even violent relationships. And that is the price you pay for being a mother. When a man would have to financially take care of you and your child or your children, it means you solely depend on this man. And at his beck and call, you have to be on your toes. It doesn't stop there. More research suggests that women suffered more job losses due to the pandemic than men. And this is true worldwide. In March, the UN's International Labour Organization estimated that labor force population between 2019 and 2020 fell 1.8% for mothers with small children, but just 1% for men. This impact has been especially felt by women of color. Sisters, this impact has been especially felt by women of color, my sisters. One thing that is true to contribute to this is women often take on the caretaking role at home when school and daycare shut down. When schools and daycares shut down, when schools are on vacation, a lot of women will sacrifice to stay at home, depending on the jobs they have to take care of these children. Sometimes even the daycares are so expensive. So all a couple will do is to sacrifice the woman's career, her job, so that she stays at home to take care of these children. And the man will turn back to say that I took care of the family. You have to stay home for this number of years, forgetting that if that woman had equally gone out to work and brought in that money, they would have spent more on the child care and school. So she sacrificed hugely, but many men don't understand this. Let's bring this back to our situation as African mothers. Motherhood is a financial decision. It's not just what your man provides, even if he's a billionaire. You will need to support these children, feeding, clothing, and their education. If you want them to develop their mind, even in the younger years, you will still have to financially invest in their upbringing. There are things you can go to your man, even if he's a billionaire, and you won't find it needful. But you know it would help the process of your child's journey as growing up in that developing stage as a woman. There are things you would want your children to have. Didn't you have dreams and aspirations for your children? These come with financial contribution. So yes, motherhood is a financial decision. African mothers, hello. Motherhood would affect your health. Having some of the most barbaric cesarean sessions. Sometimes when you visit maternity wards to even visit other women who've given birth, and just the scars of their cesareans, you want to ask what is happening. In today's age and time, we still have these barbaric cesarean sessions, but women go through just to have their babies, their children. Motherhood comes with a penalty, not just in the workforce. Your body changes. Some of these women, regardless of how they try, they cannot get a desired body again. They are in the gyms, they are eating healthily, they are doing everything humanly possible. And yet there is no way they can get their desired body again. Some women even generate or they have gestational diabetes just because of pregnancy, that in time, 10 years and over into childbirth, they develop diabetes just because they decided to be mothers. Motherhood comes with a price, honey. And that is the reason why you need a wise man to father your children. A man who will not just put his name on these children, but would appreciate every sacrifice you make to make him a father. Motherhood will affect your social life. There are things you so much desire. There were some associations and fellowships. There were things that you wanted to do and wanted to be socially. But because of motherhood, you can't be everywhere, every time as you used to be. Because of motherhood, you will live sometimes like a recluse, just so you can protect your children and be there for them. Motherhood changes your priorities. Many of the things that were so much amazing and awesome to you because of motherhood, you would have to put them away or on hold. So you would prioritize these children who never asked to be here, but you decided to bring them here. Motherhood would change your priorities. It can even affect your mental health. When the life you want to give these children, you can't meet that life. When the way you wanted to nurture these children, you don't have the means, you don't have the capacity, it would affect your mental health. Many mothers out there are keeping jobs they hate, they dislike, just because they need to pay and support their children. They need to provide their basic needs. You may ask, where are their fathers? This is to the mothers. When I am doing a video for the fathers, I know what to tell them. I am now addressing mothers. So motherhood can affect your mental health because there are things you might never have wanted as a single woman, but because you're a mother, you would have to endure. You would have to go through. You would have to be willing and ready to be available emotionally, psychologically, mentally, financially to support these children. Did you know that children inherit their intelligence from their mothers? Yes, go out there and research. So if you're a single woman and you are watching, all I'm telling you is develop your brain so that you upgrade your intelligence, because it's out of that intelligence you are going to bring forth children who would inherit that intelligence from you as a mother. And that is why we have to educate our daughters. They cannot just desire to be mothers without analyzing what goes into motherhood, without being ready to be the first role model that these children will look up to in this life. It is because you get pregnant as a woman. That is why you would make your man a father, whether he's a husband or any other father. So when it comes to children, a greater percentage depends on mothers. It is because of your decision. That's why children are here. It is because you got pregnant. So don't just take it for granted that a man will be available to do everything. A lot depends on you. It is when we're ignorant and naive that we didn't know. Now we know. So now that we know, we'll educate our daughters right, and we will also educate and nurture our children rightly too. It is in rare situations where it becomes necessary for maternity tests that you carry, that you would have to do maternity tests. It is even advised that when there is a crisis concerning paternity test, the mother could as well do maternity test, because many a time there could be some discrepancies in the hospitals you give birth at. But it is in rare situations. You carried a pregnancy, everybody saw, you knew, and you experienced it. So you can't just carry the pregnancy and give birth and assume that another human being who is the father will do a greater percentage of the work. You carry the pregnancy full time as a mother. Therefore, you must be present in all angles of the child's life. And this will affect your life too. In my part of the world, as an Akan woman, there is a proverb which says in my language that which literally means fathers can decide to turn their back on their children. But you, the mother that carried this pregnancy to full term and pushed out this baby to life, you have no business even considering that. So you would have to be present in all angles in the child's life, and that will affect your life. The time that women just had children without any plan for those children are long gone. Children are to be nurtured, and the mother is the first caregiver. Even when these children are of age, even when they flee the nest, even when they leave home and they establish their own life and their own families, you are still grooming them, mentoring them and guiding them. So motherhood doesn't end. That is the preparation. If you're a single woman, if you are not a mother yet, you would have to still discuss. Motherhood doesn't end. Motherhood is for life. And to the single mothers out there, I salute you. I feel your pain, honey. Even having a loving and responsible father available is difficult, let alone doing all this, being a mother and a father all by yourself. Girl, I understand. Mom, I understand. But you see, every action of ours has its own ramifications. You chose to be a mother, regardless of how it happened. You are a mother now, and you can't do less. Sometimes some of you have to reject men that you can describe them as good. Men who could have given you the luxury you wanted in life. You had to reject them because you couldn't see them protecting your children enough. So you have to sacrifice that good life you could have gotten with these men in order for you to protect your children. I salute you. There are men who could have given your children, together with yourself, good life to be the father figures, but you couldn't trust them enough. It may sound as paranoia to other people, but you know what goes into motherhood. So you have to protect your children by rejecting this man. I salute you. It doesn't mean you should trade your life away. No. But when the time is right, and when the right man who could cover your children, as long as give you the cover you need as a woman, as a wife, as a lover, as a mother, when those men approach, you know, you sense and you feel them. Choose your children in every situation. Don't abandon your children in any way. If a man could let you neglect your children, know that his covering for you as a man is not enough. And understand that because these fathers these children don't have the DNA of these fathers, they can't protect them like you would do. So if you pick signals that they can't protect your children enough as you want, choose your children. The universe is proud of you. Your labor will never go unrewarded. But just like I said, there's a price you have to pay. So when it's getting to Mother's Day, and many mothers out there think mothers are not rewarded enough, my question to those mothers is, have you mothered your children enough? Have you done enough? Are you enough? And your children say you've been enough? Or you have contributed to the self-worth and the self-esteem issues your children have? There are mothers out there today who all they care is the envelopes and the gifts you are giving them. If you're a mother enough, you will sense and feel the pains of your children. So in as much as it's Mother's Day and you are receiving from your children, sit down and critically examine yourself. How have you mothered these children? If all your children give you is gifts, but they don't have any relationship with you, know that your motherhood is not enough. There are mothers out there, I salute you. You have been awesome in the lives of your children. And there are other mothers too who are just figureheads, only gave birth. Other women are mothering these children. But now that your children are good enough, now that your children are well to do, you expect them to be responsible and loving to you, whereby you are not there for them. It is not too late. As long as you are living, you can make amends. Don't just take pride in being a mother when all you did was to cause pain to these children that God brought under your care. Motherhood has a penalty. And those who enjoy motherhood are those who pay that penalty. There are women who had to neglect their children, abandon them, leave them in the care of their husbands, and move on with their lives with other men. I wonder how that could be. Even the men doing that, we think it's a lot. But let alone you, the woman that went through the pregnancy and pushed this baby out, neglected them because the marriage and the relationship wasn't, something of importance to you, wasn't something that could bring you any fulfillment as a woman. So you neglected these children. Anytime it's Mother's Day, you expect these children to be still loving to you. Anyway, if you're a child, understand that one day you would equally be a mother. So regardless of what happened in your childhood, know that this universe would always take account of our contribution. So if I were you, I would turn around and still be laughing to my mother because the children are equally watching. Happy Mother's Day in advance to all mothers, to some of the amazing fathers out there who have equally stood in as mothers when the biological mothers abandoned their children. Even some of you, the stepfathers, in as much as there are some stepfathers out there who flirt with their own daughters, who do, barbaric things with their daughters and even their sons, of the women they claim to love, because they don't have any biological ties with these children. There are great and awesome men out there who have stuck out their necks to support their wives to nurture these children. We salute you also. Happy Mother's Day to you out there. May your labor never go unrewarded. I am the Lady Kezia. Until I come your way again, just like you know, hit the subscribe button, select the notification bell, and select all so that anytime I upload a video, you would be able to see because YouTube will notify you. Put in the comments there how motherhood has been for you so that other people would equally learn. Much love and blessings.